Hello, and thanks for joining me out in this splendid location. I'm told this region is called Priorat, and it's one of the premium wine producing regions of Spain. The nearest town is Tarragon, and we are about 2 hours from Barcelona, which I think would be about that direction. And we've had an absolutely spectacular drive getting to this point. This is the new Mercedes-AMG GLC 63 SE Performance. That's quite a mouthful, but all of those suffixes have some meaning. So the big news here is that this is the new model that replaces the existing GLC 63, which many of you may know is a twin-turbo V8 4-liter engine, and that is gone in this. This is a 4-cylinder turbo hybrid. Now, there's an old saying that you can't beat cubic inches, but the numbers would suggest that actually, in some cases, you can beat cubic inches because this is a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine with a hybrid assist, and it punches harder than the old 4-liter V8 twin turbo. So the key ingredients are there's a longitudinal 4-cylinder engine. It's M139L in Mercedes-AMG speak. And the 4-cylinder turbo engine on its own punches out 476 horsepower and 545 newton meters of torque. So it's the most powerful 4-cylinder production engine that you'll find anywhere. And one of the key ingredients of the engine is an electric turbocharger. So basically what that does is an electric motor spools up the turbocharger until the exhaust gases can take over. So basically there's no impression of lag, so you have lots of punch from down low, and that's something that's very evident in driving the car. Even though it's a small engine, it's only 2 liters, this car weighs 2.3 tons, yet it pulls very strongly even from low revs. So in that respect, you don't feel the huge drop of 4 cylinders and 2 liters compared with the old V8 model. So the other ingredient is an electric motor which sits at the back, and that punches out 204 horsepower, 320 newton meters of torque. So the two power units combined put out 680 horsepower, 1,020 newton meters of torque. That's right, 1,020 from a 4-cylinder engine. Who would have ever thunk that would be possible? And drive is to all 4 wheels via Mercedes' 4MATIC S all-wheel drive system, which shunts up to 100% of torque to the rear wheels, or 50-50 front and rear, depending on the situation. And there's a 9-speed automatic transmission with wet startup clutch, which makes for very fast shifting. So basically you don't miss the absence of a dual clutch gearbox. So this car goes on sale in early 2024 in some markets, but in markets such as Australia, they have to wait until towards the end of 2024. So perhaps we can do a little sort of walk around of the car. So as you can see in classic AMG form, you have, I think, this grille which they refer to as Pan Americana. So with these very bold vertical slats. And you have these HED LED headlights, which are superb, provide very good crisp illumination. And then you have this sort of aggressive front splitter. And this car is wearing the 21-inch rims. And then you have these big carbon ceramic brakes, 390 millimeter at the front, 360 at the back. And being a hybrid car, there's 3 different recuperation modes. So in the most aggressive mode, it's basically like driving a normal combustion car. There's no sense of recuperation. Or at the other extreme, there's a mode in which you can basically drive with one pedal, where as soon as you lift off the gas, it goes into recuperation mode. And this badge, the E Performance, that is straight away a signal that this isn't the V8, because normally you have the bi-turbo V8 badge, but because this is a 4-cylinder hybrid, you have the E-Performance. And that's basically a clue to the direction that Mercedes, and in fact all manufacturers, are having to go in to meet emissions targets. So it's downsizing and electrification is where we are headed. So yeah, what differentiates this also is these little side sill extensions. And then back here you have the little port for charging. It's a very small battery pack actually, which sits sort of along the rear. It's 6.1 kilowatt hours only, and that's because it is not really designed to be or have a meaningful electric only range. I think it's only about 12 kilometers in full electric mode, because the purpose of this battery is mainly to provide quick bursts of power. So it's more a performance hybrid than something that's purported to be very environmentally friendly. It's that too, but that's not really the main purpose. And suspension-wise, you have adaptive dampers all around, coil springs, but then you have a 48-volt anti-roll system. So it's roll stabilization via the active system. So the car stays pretty flat. We've been absolutely howling across some of these twisty roads, but the car stays quite flat. And then you also have four-wheel steering. So it makes it very agile. We've had a lot of hairpins on the way up, but I can tell you for a 2.3 ton SUV, I mean, it's not a huge SUV, but it is big. It's pretty effective across some of these roads. So here we can move around to the back. As you can see in AMG's trademark fashion, you have these quad exhausts and then that sort of aggressive diffuser. We'll do a sound check in a minute, but what you don't get with this is the pyrotechnic sort of crackles and bangs that you have in the old V8. So Mercedes is sort of toning down the soundtrack of even its aggressive cars, because this is in keeping with noise regulations. So they have to sort of stay within certain limits, and that's the reason for that. So let's take a look under the bonnet. So here, as you can see, is the 4-cylinder turbo engine. It's the M139L, longitudinally mounted, unlike the A45 in which it sits transversely. And then, of course, in keeping with AMG's one-man, one-engine policy, you can see that this engine was handcrafted by Mario Bechtold. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. And there you can see the turbocharger, which in this one is a particularly special unit. It's a Garrett turbocharger, but the real sort of key element is that electric element, which spools up the turbo and gets the boost going even from low revs. All right, let's take a look inside the boot. So I haven't quite memorized the boot capacity of this car, but as you can see, a nice flat floor, decently spacious even as it is. But then, of course, you can fold down the rear seats and throw in your mountain bike, or if you've got kids, you can throw in their prams and other paraphernalia. So I think it stands up as a very usable, extreme high performance car, perfect daily driver. Easily handles the shopping runs, etc. You don't get a spare wheel with this one, but what you get instead is a warning triangle, compressor, and jack and a can of foam. So yeah, not really designed to go off-road, obviously, and hence the absence of a spare wheel. This is more a tarmac blaster. So let's take a listen to what it sounds like. So here we are inside the car, very driver-centric cabin, as you'd expect of an AMG. Some nice use of mixed materials. You have this sort of carbon fiber, gloss carbon fiber finish on the dash. Beautiful sculpted leather seats, very supportive and also comfortable. I like these turbine style vents as well. I think they really suit the character of the car. Then you have this sort of three-spoke steering wheel, which is sort of Alcantara and leather. A bit maybe too thick for my liking, but other than that, it's great. It sort of soaks up the sweat. And then here you have these control knobs, which I will demonstrate in a second. Yeah, some nice gloss black finishing here as well. Lots of little cubby holes as well to stash your stuff. Of course, cup holders and phone charger, USB points. So yeah, very usable and practical cabin, and very comfortable as well. Everything is sort of very easily within reach. You have these very nice tactile alloy paddles for upshifting and downshifting. And then you have this control knob to toggle through the different drive modes. From Sport Plus, this is race mode, which sort of deactivates the safety net to some degree. And then Sport Plus, Sport, and then Comfort, and then, as you can probably tell in the background, and then there's a full electric mode as well if you're in a zero emission zone. So the interface is sort of very typical of Mercedes recent models. You have this fully digitized instrument cluster, and then this portrait style infotainment system. So most of the stuff is fairly standard, but I think what's quite interesting is, for example, this track pace setting. Basically, you can store your lap times for different racetracks, so you can keep tabs of how you're progressing. And then you have this performance where you can see the energy flow of the car. So right now it's going to charge the battery. That's where the energy flow is going, because we're not obviously driving the car. And then right now the combustion engine isn't operating, so obviously zero. And then also the vehicle setting. Basically there's chassis settings, and then you can see the engine graphics. So I think it's some pretty cool graphics that they've incorporated there, and then the state of charge of the battery. So all in all, I think it's quite intuitive, easy to use, and also sort of attractively laid out and very sensible. So that is my wrap of the Mercedes GL63 SE Performance. I think a very interesting and innovative car. Of course, it's bound to stir some controversy, because there have been some reports saying that Mercedes' new 63, which also has downsized to a four-cylinder engine, apparently that has generated some pushback from certain customers, and then there were rumors suggesting that they would go back to V8 power, but those rumors apparently are not true. They're not going back to the V8, so this is a sign of the future. This is what is ahead for Mercedes-AMG. So you can get used to the idea of downsized combustion engines, and then in due course full electrification as well. But what I can say, having driven this car over some pretty challenging roads, is that yes, it doesn't have the thunderous soundtrack of the old V8, but it is still a pretty engaging car, and it's fast as well. I mean, 0 to 100 in 3.5 seconds and a top speed of 275, and that's electronically limited, is pretty rapid, especially when you consider this is a 2.3 ton car. So yes, on the one hand, I do miss the old V8 soundtrack. So what you get instead is sort of more a hard-edged sort of four-cylinder soundtrack with some turbo whoosh, which is also not bad. And all in all, I can say a pretty engaging car. And now what remains to be seen is how customers will respond to it when it goes on sale in early 2024. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video.